All right, so we are on day 6, solving fraction story problems. Should be on this, this page right here. I know it's kind of cut off. And again, the ones that are dark, I don't know what happened. So we're going to do the work here. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to present a problem to you. You're going to pause it. So this is what you should do. You should draw a model, kind of what we did yesterday. Then use that model to solve the problem and write an equation, okay? So do all of that first and then check to see how I did it so you can compare and say, well, I did that correct or I didn't and I need to learn how to do it. Again, get help from people around you or get help from me if no one knows what they're doing. All right, so our first problem is Jamie has 3/4 a liter of juice and she is sharing it with her friends. Together they drank 1/2 of the juice. How much juice in liters did they drink? So first I want you to draw the model and then pause and look at what I did. So think about, what does this look like? What does 3/4 of a liter of juice look like? And what does them drinking 1/2 of that? How can you show that with a picture model? Go ahead and try that, and then I'm going to show you what I did. All right, so here's mine. I'm going to draw a rectangle for the juice box. It said 3/4, right? They had 3/4 of it. Let me check, 3/4. So I'm going to split this into fourths. So here's our 3/4 of juice, and they are going to drink exactly 1/2 of it. So they're going to drink this here. All right, now go ahead and solve it, and then I'm going to solve it. All right, so if they drink this, that's 1, 2, 3, okay? Now you might make the mistake of saying it's just 3 out of the 6. Okay, so they're going to drink 1/2 the juice. Yes, they're drinking 1/2 the juice, but that's not what we're asking. We're asking how much of the whole liter are they drinking? So hopefully you realize that's 1, 2, 3 out of now 8 parts. So they're drinking 3/8 of a liter. So what's the equation? All right, the equation is 3/4 times 1/2, and that equals 3/8 of a liter. Let's go to the next problem. George and his mom decide to go for a long walk from their house to George's grandma's house. The total distance was 3 3/4 of a mile. They decided to stop 2/3 of the way to have a snack. When they stopped to have a snack, how far had they gone? So what is that going to look like? Go ahead and draw that out, and then I'm going to draw it out for you. If you want to go through the whole problem, you can, and then go from there. But I will pause after I draw it so you can compare your model with mine. Oops. It was a sneak peek. All right, so this one, I think what makes the most sense to me is some sort of line, right? And so they started here at their house, and then the grandma's house was 3 3/4 miles. Now they stopped, what, 2/3 of the way. So I have to split this into thirds. So this is where they stopped to have a snack. So now how in the world do we figure out where that is? All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about this as how many total fourths are there, and I'm going to map that out on my line, and then I'm going to try and think about what is 2/3, okay? Where is this position? So how many fourths are in 3? Well, that's 12/4, and then 15/4. So how am I going to show fourths? Maybe I shouldn't, you know what? I think adding these to my line already kind of is going to make me confused. So I'm going to redraw this. I'm going to first split it into fourths. Okay, so this was 3 3/4. So I'm going to try and think about So let's see. 1. So we're going to do by fourths. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1 whole. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 2 wholes. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 3 wholes, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's pretty good. Not great, but it's okay. So now I have all of these fourths. I have 15 fourths, and now I got to think about thirds. How am I going to show that? What is a third? I wanted to do these in threes, 2/3. So this whole thing is 15. So what's 1/3 of 15? 1/3 of 15 is 5. So that means here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5/4. That's 1/3 of the way, right? 1, 2, 3, 5. This is 10/4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's right. And that's 15/4. So 2/3 of the way is right here. 2/3 of the way is 10/4. Or 2 and 1, 2, 2.5. So 2.5. So what's the equation? The equation is 3 3/4 times 2/3, and that's going to give me 2.5. What's another way we can think about this? Well, I like splitting things up. So you could have 3 3/4 times 2/3. Let's check this. So that would be 3 times 2/3 plus 3/4 times 2/3, which equals 2/3 of 3 is 2. 3/4, 2/3, that's what, 6/12? Okay, that's a half. Yep, so that's right. 2 1/2 miles. All right, cool. Now I've run out of room. If you've run out of room, get yourself some scratch paper. That's in the second drawer on the blue. All right, let's look at the next one. Marcus is making his costume for the school play. He cut a piece of fabric that was 1/3 of a yard by 3/8 of a yard. What's the total area of that piece of fabric? Again, pause it, draw it. If you want to solve it, solve it. If you want to check to see if your drawing matches mine, let's do this right now. All right, so that was, wait, let me check that again. 1/3 by 3/8. So we have a piece of fabric that is 1/3 by 3/8, and we want to figure out what this is. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I want to know what that looks like as one whole. Right? Because that's 1/3 there. So that would be 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. And then this is supposed to be 8ths, 3/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oop, I need to make it bigger. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I made it too big. All right, so this whole thing is 1. So this is 1, and this is now 1. So looking at all of this area here, I have what this is by 8 and by 3. So that's 24. And then we're just looking at 1, 2, 3 of those. That's 3/24 of a yard. So 1/3 times 3/8 equals 3/24 yards squared. All right, cool. Let's see what the next one is. Leilani's dad was helping Leilani and her brother and sister wrap presents for their mom. Their dad had 8 3/4 feet of ribbon. He cut the ribbon into equal pieces and gave each kid exactly 1/3. Okay, how long was the piece of ribbon? So I'm probably gonna do length here again. So I have my ribbon. That was 8, and so the whole thing is 8 3/4. So this is just a little bit like that the walking one. So I'm going to do everything in fourths. So let's see, how many fourths are in 8? 32. So there's 35 fourths. All right, so let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths. Because this is 0. So there's 1 whole, 1, 2, 3, 2 whole, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 2, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3. So now we have to think about, again, thirds. So this was what? 32, 35. That I can separate that into thirds. 1/3 of 35 is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm guessing this is the size of one ribbon. Let's see if that's right. Let's see if I can get 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, no, that's not right. What did I do wrong there? Wait a second. 32, 35. 1/3 isn't 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Wait, no. 1/3 of 35 fourths. Man, I'm confused. Can you do third? Let me think about this. I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make... I think it would be easier if I just drew the ribbon. I'm not going to do... Here, I'm going to say this is 8 yards. And I'm going to think about this in thirds. So that would be 24 thirds. So that means if I split this into thirds, 1/3 is what? 8 thirds, right? 8 thirds, 8 thirds, 8 thirds. That's 24 thirds. That's 8. So this is 8 thirds, or what? 2 1/3. So this is 2 1/3 yards. 2 1/3 yards. Yeah, that's 6. No, that's not right. 2 2/3. Sorry. Yeah. 2 2/3 yards by 2 2/3. 2 2/3. All right, so that's 8. Is 2 1/3 of 8 is 2 2/3. So now I have this 3 1/4 or 3/4 left. But I want to split that into thirds as well. I think I want to do it this way. I kind of want to draw a box. Right, that's a hole. So 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2. So we're looking at 3/4, and then, which is this whole thing, but only this area, which is 1. So that's 1, 2, 3 out of 12. So 3/12, or 1/4, and I'm going to combine those together. So now I have 2 2/3, and this is a pretty, it's a pretty difficult problem. 2 2/3 plus 3/12. So I gotta get this to 12ths. 2 2/3 is what? 8/12. Man, my pen is awful. So that's gonna be 2 11/12 yards per. Because again, how did I get that? So to change thirds into 12ths, I would need to multiply by 4. So this is 8/12 plus 3 11/12. So 2 11/12 yards. Man, I wonder how I could do that here. That would be 2. That would be like here. I'm sure there's a way to do that. I just can't think of what it is. All right, let's leave the next one. All right, so here's the lasty. Peter's dad made a pan of brownies last night. Today there is exactly 1/2 of a pan of brownies left. If Peter eats 1/3 of it, what is left? How much of the pan of brownies has he eaten? Let's see. So here's my pan of brownies. There's 1/2 here. How much has he eaten? 1/3 of it. So I split it into thirds. He's going to eat that. So again, you could be like, well, that's just 1/3 of what we have. But again, we're looking at that whole pan of brownies. So we have 1/2 times 1/3, and that's going to equal 1/6 of a pan. Okay, 1 out of those 6. All right. So when it's those pan ones, for me, that's a little simpler to think about. When it's a distance, I think it's almost better to split that distance up into the whole number and then the fraction to kind of think about it a little easier. I know when it's fractions and multiplying by fractions, that rectangular stuff, it's just easier for me to think about. If you can think about it in the distance, I think that's great. So enjoy, have fun. Bye.